Hi there everybody, we are going to look today at solving quadratics, specifically by factorising. Okay, there are a couple of other ways of solving quadratic equations, but we are going to do it by factorising in this particular instance. Alright, so there is another video and lesson on factorising quadratics. So it's the same technique that's involved. There's just one little step that you need to do at the end, which I'll talk you through. All right. So to solve a quadratic equation, it's probably got to be in the format that you're kind of used to seeing, which is something x squared plus something x plus c, and it must equal 0. All right. So if it's not in that format, then we're not going to be able to do it. So you've got to get it in that format first, and then obviously try and kind of factorise it. Okay. So often when we're talking about factorising the quadratic, it tends to be going into double brackets, all right? And the reason it will be in double brackets is if you've got something x squared, something x, and a number, all right? Because there isn't a clear factor that goes into all three, okay? So that's what we are looking for. So once you've factorised it, so that's the key part of it, then the solutions are the values which make each bracket equal to 0. And I'll explain that as we kind of go through as an example. Right, okay, so factorising quadratic, so it's in the format that we want, so it's x squared plus 5x plus 4. So when we're looking to factorise it, as a quick recap, we're looking for two numbers, so I should say, that times together to give you 4, that add together to give you 5, and then obviously because we've got an x squared, it's just going to be an x in both brackets, all right? So that's going to be x plus 4, x plus 1, and again, if you need practice on that, then please revisit the content and lessons on factorising a quadratic expression. So that's what you're going to get by factorising it. And then what we're talking about here is, so once you factorise it, the solutions are the values which make each bracket equal 0. Now, to explain that, and the whole purpose of that working, is that we're going to times two things together. All right, we're going to times this bracket and this bracket together, and it equals 0. So by definition, the only way I'm going to get 0 if I times two things together is if one of them, or either of them, or both of them, are equal to 0. So that means either this bracket equals 0 or this bracket equals 0. Okay. So if I said to you x plus 4 equals 0, then what's the value of x? Well, the value of x here has to be, when I take it across, has to be basically a minus. Or x plus 1, which is the other bracket, is equal to 0. So in essence, we're rearranging this, which I mentioned a minute ago. It's going to become a minus. And then when I've got the plus 1 here, it's going to come across and also be a minus. All right, so a bit of rearrangement of this bit is going to give these two values. Now, what an awful lot of students see is that if you've got an x plus something, or an x plus something, or an x minus something, it's always the opposite of in there that you get here. So if you look at plus 4, it's minus 4, you've got plus 1, and it's minus 1. So it's a quick way of looking at it. All right, let's look at another example really quickly. So you've got x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. And factorising it a little bit more awkward because of the minus. That means they're going to have different signs. So you're going to have x plus 3x minus 1 when you factorise it. And then like I did for this one, I'm going to put either x plus 3 equals 0 or x minus 1 is equal to 0. Well, if I look at the one on the left, well, it's going to be minus 3, because again, it's the opposite sign. And then over here, it's going to be plus 1, because it's opposite the sign, because 1 take away 1 is 0. All right. And that's solving a quadratic in its basic form. So that's not too bad, because we've got a nice x squared and obviously dealing with positive and negative. So as long as you're very, very good in terms of factorising it quite clearly, there should be no problem with that. But let's have a look if it's slightly different when I have a coefficient in front of the x squared. All right. So this is, again, going back to the skills of factorising, it makes it a little bit more awkward. All right. So if I've got a 2x squared plus 8x plus 6, two ways I can try and handle that. I can try and factorise it with the 2 and the 2x in a bracket, or potentially, because there are 2's in everything, then I could start by just dividing it all through by 2, which in this case it does. All right, so it does divide by 2. That's what I would do. I've got 2, an 8 and a 6. So I could go for a bracket of 2x and an x and try and factorise it that way, but of course it's much easier to just divide it by 2, then do exactly like you did before. So I'm just going to run through that very, very quickly to show you that it's quite straightforward. All right. But let's have a look at something that's not as easy. It doesn't divide by 2. All right. So if it doesn't divide by 2, like the one on the left did, then I have to have a different technique. And this is where you may have learned in the past about basically split in the middle, or you may have learned from one of our other previous lessons about basically trial and seeing what's going to work and what's not going to work. Well, if I go through all those processes, what you're going to find is you're going to have a 2x and an x. That's the only thing that gives me 2x squared. And because they're both positives, that means they're both pluses. And then I need to try and get from these two times together and these two times together to get up to 7. All right, so 3 and 1 are the only options. So 3 times 2 gives me 6, and 1 times x gives me 1. So 6 and 1, I should say, gives me 7. So that's it factorised, right? So this is really where this bit comes into play, because I need to write 2x plus 1 equals 0, and also x plus 3 is equal to 0. Well, rearranging this is a little bit harder than this one, all right, because it's a two-step process. So the one's going to come across and become minus, and then I'm going to divide it by 2. So it's going to x equals minus a half. All right, so it's a little bit more awkward when a 2 is involved, whereas this one on the right-hand side is just going to be x is equal to minus 3. Actually, it should be there, shouldn't it? Minus 3. All right, so I need to make sure I change that. All right, that is definitely minus 3 there, isn't it? Yeah, so ignore that one, people. I really apologise. That there should be minus 3. Okay. All right, well, please visit maths-school.co.uk. I'll get that changed on the lesson. We're going to kind of post it. But please have a look and please practice. There's loads of kind of content on the website. And of course, you can always revisit the website and look at the video again at any point. All right, cheers for listening.